Hello, come on in. Welcome. Hi, my name is Michael Weir, and I've been teaching private violin lessons for almost 10 years. I think the biggest concern that people have when wanting to sign up for violin lessons is what their teacher's going to be like. I am very serious about what I do and very professional in the way that I do it, but I also have a very goofy and witty side, and I like to have fun. And as I've grown up and gone to school and got my bachelor's degree and did student teaching, and I've accumulated all of these years of experience teaching private lessons, I've managed to do that and still keep that endearing, goofy, easy to get along with side of me. I feel like, especially since I'm an adult and I live in a house by myself, that creates an extra barrier, an extra feeling of apprehension for people who want to sign up for violin lessons. And I totally get that. 100%. I understand that feeling of apprehension, of not exactly knowing what to expect, is completely normal. I take the comfort of my clients very, very seriously. I keep my house very clean. I don't have a single pet. I'm allergic to just about all of them anyways, so it's also not going to happen in the future. And when designing my studio, I wanted to create a very clean space that felt open and free and not cluttered, but I also was very conscious to have everything my students might need. I have a bathroom that's only used for my studio, and it's like 4 steps away from the studio. It is always very clean. I have a filtered water pitcher and disposable cups that I have just in case you need some water when you're here. I also have Wi-Fi. If you want to come, and when your kid is doing their lesson, if you want to come do work, you can do that. You can come hook up to my Wi-Fi. And I mean, all the other things, AC, heating, trash cans. My goal is for you to be as comfortable as you can be. My favorite part about my studio is the big windows. Not only do they light up the room, which is very nice, but being able to see inside the studio from outside of the studio, and when you're in the studio, being able to see directly out to the road, to where your car is at, to the rest of the world. It's very comforting, and it just feels very safe. One of the best parts about teaching out of my house is that I'm the only person teaching here. So it's not like you're going to be playing and having your lesson and hearing someone in the next room having a cello lesson or a trumpet lesson. It's very personal, it's very quiet. It's a good learning environment. I believe that the best teachers are also the best learners. They're the ones who are going out and constantly getting more training. They're reading more books about learning and dissecting studies about their specific content areas and really diving deep into these new resources that are coming out. But the best teachers are also the ones who have a support system of other teachers where they can share advice and get advice and talk about students and have this community where you get better together. And the best teachers are the ones that take all of those things and they channel it into their teaching. I also believe that the best teachers are the best performers. They need to have the best technique. They need to be able to pick up their instrument and be able to play exactly what their students are playing and play it with pinpoint precision so they can model the skill that they're trying to teach. I also feel a very personal duty to my students. I feel like I can't expect you to come to your lesson and to work hard every semester and then to play in my recital, my studio recital at the end of the semester. I can't expect my students to do that if I'm not also actively performing myself. And not to mention that I just genuinely love performing. I am extremely fortunate to be able to do this as my full-time job. A lot of people teach music as something on the side or something that's secondary to a different job or an orchestra position or a faculty position. It's not that there's anything wrong with that, but there is a big difference between getting a teacher who does this on the side and getting a teacher who does this full-time, who does this all day, every day. Both of my parents are therapists, and as a therapist, it is legally required that you write down notes about your clients. And I was surprised to find out when I started teaching that not all teachers do that. Not all private teachers write down notes about their students or save practice charts or write down, hey, next time we should work on this. You'll see me on my laptop a lot when I'm teaching, and that's because I'm taking notes. I'm writing progress notes. I'm pulling up resources. I'm writing down things that I don't want to forget to bring up later in your lesson. I love my notes. They help me plan. They help me see what improvements we can make together, what will be realistic, and what we can work on next time. My notes help me be a more effective teacher. I give each of my students a practice chart every week that has all of their assignments on it and very detailed instructions and markers for their indications for whether or not they're being successful. I also save those practice charts to my computer so that if a student forgets their practice chart, or if you genuinely do forget your practice chart, I can pull it up in the next week and we can go over everything you did that week together before we start your lesson. My first time taking private lessons as a student when I was a kid didn't go very well. I was about 9 or 10 years old and I had begged my parents to let me take piano lessons, and they were very supportive. They bought a piano, they signed me up for lessons with this particular teacher. Anyways, I remember going to my lessons and being genuinely confused. I did not understand what my teacher wanted me to do. I didn't feel comfortable asking my teacher for help. And because of that, I would go home from my lessons and I would sit at the piano and I would go back and forth between staring at the music and staring at the piano. And I just would do that for 20 minutes because I genuinely didn't understand what I was supposed to do. My teacher was not very clear, but as a kid, I didn't really realize that was the problem. I just thought that I was bad at the piano. And over time, this built up a lot of frustration, but also a lot of guilt because I had begged my parents to let me play the piano, and they had bought a piano, and now I was begging them to please let me stop because I hated it so much. Fast forward to 6th grade, and I started beginning orchestra with Diane Halliburton as my teacher. I love her. And it was very clear exactly what I needed to do and exactly how I was supposed to do it. And that was because Miss Halliburton taught her students how to learn and how to practice effectively by themselves. And because of all of this, and because it was very clear what I was supposed to do, and there were very clear indications of my success, practice became something that I loved. It became one of my favorite things because it was so clear and enjoyable, and my parents never ever have had to ask me to practice the violin. Like, I just did it on my own because I enjoyed it. I have a very strong opinion that if a student is not practicing, it's something wrong on the teacher side of things. If the student is not practicing, the teacher's not doing their job correctly. It's my job as your teacher or the teacher of your student, if you're signing up your child for lessons, to help you guys know exactly what to do and exactly how to do it and exactly how to practice it on your own at home. Which is why if a student isn't practicing, I take that like it's my fault. There's something that wasn't clear about expectations. And I expect my students to practice for a decent chunk of time very consistently, but I also expect them to enjoy their practice. I realize that these are very high expectations, but they're supported high expectations. I think it is so wonderful when a student has their own motivation to tackle new repertoire and to learn new things and to practice on their own and make progress. And once that starts, it just grows exponentially from there. That motivation will turn into your student becoming their own teacher. I really enjoy what I do. It is genuinely so satisfying for me to see my students making progress because of the things that we've learned together. Every new student learns in a slightly different way, but that's actually probably one of the parts of the job I enjoy the most, is that it's constantly changing just enough to keep it interesting, but not enough to make it overwhelming. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time today to watch my introduction video. I know your time is valuable, so thank you. I would love to have you or your child as a new student, whoever is wanting to sign up for violin lessons. Please contact me if you have any questions. I'll put my email in the description of this video. It's on my website. It's also going to be here on the screen. If you want information on studio policies, group classes, pricing, tuition, anything like that, please visit the studio information page on my website. It should have literally everything you need, but again, if you do have questions, please email me. Thanks again, and I'll see you in your first lesson.